name is Matt. I'm a hiker. So I have a hiking club and I have people that do come to my events when I plan on some. And then there's this thing where it worries me a lot. When I get people that are beginners, they come to the club, maybe for a certain hiking trip, and then seeing other people that are good at hiking, they just come to one event and then they stop. So it hurts me because I feel like I let them down. They had this thing that, okay, I want to be like this guy, I want to be like these guys. And then they come, and then they just see the energy around. I try to keep them, let them know that, you're going to get better as time goes, but they think it's just another, just like how I treat everyone. But I've seen how when people are coming, for the first time and then comes for the second time, there's a big improvement. But still the others that don't come back, they just come once and then they quit. How do you deal with such people so that you give them at least, they should keep coming. They should know that they are not failures or it's not for them. Everyone can do it. Maybe it's just that they need more time and more practicing and more showing up.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Thank you for that question. And I think, if you're doing this because you're running a business and you've got to have a certain group size, all of these things are going to come into play with it. So for anyone who's leading sports or expeditions, if it's a business, you've got to bear that in mind. One thing that I would maybe suggest is if it's feasible and if it's possible to segment groups so that you can have a big enough turnout where you have people who are more experienced hikers and actually have a beginners group and actually market it as such, and maybe in your kind of intake information that you're getting from people, you can kind of gauge, are they more experienced or are they beginners? Sometimes just making kind of a self-made group so that you can really tailor that to people to let them celebrate the small wins. Yeah, so everyone's going to have a different base level of fitness and everybody's going to have a different level of challenge that they need to meet. So one of the things we actually did in the CrossFit gym, because we were very aware that if anybody Googles or YouTube's CrossFit, it looks terrifying because you see all the sexy stuff they're doing at the CrossFit Games and everybody's walking on their hands and doing all kinds of cool stuff. It's not beginner friendly, it's not going to attract beginners. But CrossFit is designed for beginners. CrossFit is designed for people who are, 80. If they have a fall, they can get themselves back up off the floor. That's what it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be fitness for life. So what we did is we had CrossFit sessions throughout the week. Monday night, we called it CrossFit Light. It was a beginner friendly. It wasn't. It was the same workout that the other groups did, but they didn't know that. Okay? The first CrossFit that I went to was CrossFit Light. I only found out later it wasn't. But it just meant that I was with kind of a self-selecting group that were of a certain ability and a certain level. The stretch and strength class on the Sunday, this is not in terms of ability, but I've had some women approach me and say, I don't feel comfortable training around men. Could we have a women-only group? And so I've segmented, I split the class, and I've now got a mixed group and a ladies-only group. So if that is feasible, that is one way that you can really, and I think it's a great marketing tool, because I think a lot of people who might be potential hikers don't ever approach you, because they think, well, heck, I don't know what I'm in for. I don't think it's going to be for me. I'm even more scared now. So the last thing you want is to set someone up for failure. You don't want someone to come along and find they can't do it. The other thing that I find really, really great, and I've had great rewards from in training, is huge amounts of enthusiasm. Celebrate the small wins. I've started PTing a few women. There's a lady who, we had a plate about this high off the floor, and she jumped onto it. And for her, that was a big deal. Because she told herself, I can't jump, I cannot do it. She proved herself wrong. So doing those little things like those follow-ups that you can do with people as well, even after the trek, just check in, how are you feeling? You did great, really hope to see you on the next one. A lot of people respond to positive encouragement with these things. So yeah, it sounds like you're doing fantastic things, fantastic things. I would be so excited and interested, and I know a lot of people that would be really interested if you were to offer something like a beginner's guide to hiking or kind of entry-level hiking. I think that would be very well received.